This is the talk around the league. It's not being pulled out of thin air that Donovan Mitchell is going to ask out of his contract. So I just said, would you like to address
Not out of
that?
his contract, but
I'm sorry, yeah, right. With 3 years plus a player option left.
Out of Utah. He would like to play somewhere else.
Well, and so the first question in the press conference, he was asked, do you want to be in Utah? And he kind of gave a, yeah, man, yeah, this hurts, but yeah, I do, that sort of a thing. Not very enthusiastic. So I asked this, and I also asked, does this core need a major change? And he said, I'm a competitor. I feel like if you give us another crack at it, we can go get it. But in the same token, there's things that could change. Then he basically said, I'm not in the headspace to answer this. If you ask me that in a week, maybe, but right now I'm not in the headspace to answer that for you. So I asked him, hey, do you want out? Are you going to ask out? That's what the talk in the league's been. My mindset's to win. Like I said, right now, I'm not really looking at it in terms of asking for a trade. For me, I just want to win, then does the big sigh, this hurts. Like I said, I'll think about it in a week and go from there, but right now I'm not really thinking about any of that. So you've got 3 years left on your contract on a max contract, and you need a week to think about whether you're going to ask to be traded.
Yeah, you know what he didn't say? Yeah, no. I want to be a Utah Jazz. No, you don't. No, that's a yes or no question. And he didn't say yes.
And so, and I gave him a very hey, all the talk around the league's been you could be asking out. He could have very simply said, that is all wrong. He could have given the Dame Lillard 10 toes down, but he chose not to. He basically said, give me a week to think about it. And then you guys won't be able to talk to me anyway.
Right.
Exactly.
So, that's obviously if you're a Jazz fan, that I'm sure was hard to hear. Rudy basically said, hey, he said his goal's always been to win a championship in Utah. It still is, but basically it's out of his control in terms of whether he'll be here or not. And that's accurate. If you ask me to guess, my guess is Rudy's definitely traded, and that the front office from Ryan Smith, the majority owner, on down to Danny Ainge and Justin Zanuck, they figure out a way to, and Donovan Mitchell's part of the front office. If we're just being honest, my guess is they figure out a way to bring him back. They need somebody to be the mayor of Salt Lake City during All-Star weekend. But I don't think Donovan Mitchell's back here for very long. I don't think, I think I would say at the longest one more season.
So here's how the conversation has played out with executives. I'm sure Bontemps will back me up on this. This is how it has gone with executives for 6 months. Yeah, they're probably going to trade Rudy Gobert. But then I don't see how that trade makes them that much better. And then there'll be a worse team. And then Donovan will definitely want out. Or I don't see why they would fire Quinn Snyder. But if they do, the replacement will be not as good. And there'll be a worse team. And then Donovan will definitely want out. And that's the corner that you've boxed in. The other thing that with Utah is it's still not 100% clear about who is calling the shots, like the ultimate shot caller. Ryan Smith.
It is. It's Ryan Smith, but okay. He has Danny Ainge here. He has Dwayne Wade here. Justin Zanuck's doing all the day-to-day work. Who's the and what's not clear is how aligned his advisory committee, so to speak, is. That's to me is what's not clear.
Okay. That's why you want to play. And the reason it's, look, at the end of the day, the Jazz were 52-20 last year, 52-20 in that 72 game season, number 1 overall seed, top 5 offense, top 5 defense. That is, elite defense of player, excellent offensive player. They had the profile of a champion, and obviously lose to the Clippers after Kawhi gets hurt. And then this season out in the first round. And the reason it's so interesting is not just because of what's happening with the Jazz itself, but like what it could mean to other teams in the league. And like, I'm just going to be honest. For 2 months now, I've been having routine conversations with league executives about what Rudy Gobert trades could look like. This is what the teams are talking about. Teams are talking about where Rudy Gobert is going to get traded. They're bouncing off ideas. Well, what about if this team did that? What about, he could go here, he could go there, this deal for this guy. And I mean, I know that it upset the Jazz, but like, that's reality in the world. That's what everybody's preparing for. I would say that my personal feel from the conversations I have, certainly not comprehensive, is the feel in the league is that the Jazz are going to do, as MacMahon just kind of indicated, they're going to do some level of overhaul that does not include Donovan Mitchell in an attempt to make Donovan more comfortable. And that could work. It could work, but it's going to be difficult.
How comfortable is Donovan Mitchell going to be if they're playing for a play-in seed?
Well, yeah, yeah.
And tell me, you're going to trade Rudy Gobert with 4 years left on a massive contract, which minimizes his trade value. You're going to trade him and get better. Danny Ainge has pulled off miracles before. Danny Ainge has pulled off miracles before, but I think that's going to be extremely difficult to do.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.